start telling Kenyans that we are limiting how you're moving in the country. Yet Article 39 is clear on the movement of Kenyans within their own territory. What are you afraid of? You are afraid that these people are calling you out on your, let me not use the word, they're calling you out on the nonsense that you are putting on them. They're calling you out because you have failed in each and every aspect of the office that you hold. Promises that you gave them on your campaign trail. And all they're telling you is, hold up. This is what you said. You're doing the complete opposite. At the end of the day, message is home.
Yep.
Message is home.
You know, a few angles to look at this story. You can view it in from different angles. If you look at last year's protests, it was the finance bill protests. They were so organic in a way that I think it caught everyone by surprise, including us journalists, to be honest. When there was a push towards Parliament and finally they breached, we were now entering an unknown territory in the history of this country, where you had young people who are going to where you would call, quote unquote, the seats of power. And they're saying, we are going to our parliament. It's not yours, it's our parliament. This is where the laws of the land are being made. You can't force something down to us without accountability, like you rightly put. And what did they do? They went through the tunnel, went to KCC rooftop, helipads, choppers were landing and flying out, getting all these people out.
Taking ambulances.
Others hiding inside ambulances. Those are the two parallels. Well, on the streets, these young people are being tear gassed, were being shot and murdered. And you look at that image, and there was a question is, where is the president? And by the time he was coming in, the first briefing he gave, you could tell he was very, very angry. From the wordings on his script or teleprompter to what he called the protesters. You remember?
Yeah.
What he called them. And he was very angry. Angry because I think this thing, how it morphed into these large crowds getting into the city, nobody had anticipated that would happen. And so, by the second protest, already conversations were happening. And the security meetings and security briefings will always happen around this kind of thing. So the political security dynamics will always play out. And by the third and the fourth and the fifth, I can't even number how many protests we've had so far since last year, up to now yesterday. You look at every time we've had this protest, there's a call. Mr. President, do something about it. And he doesn't. My take on this is, it doesn't mean he's silent. He is speaking.
Absolutely.
He is speaking very loudly.
It's communicating.
And he's doing it through other means.
True.
It's up to you to read what exactly is in his mind. Because from the first protest where he said, okay, fine, I've heard you. I'm not going to sign this bill. He dissolved the cabinet, and it went on the X space talking to the young people. He was actually taking down notes, mentioning names, and he appeared to be, okay, finally, I'm listening to you. Yes, you are right. I need to deal with this. I have had ministers who are doing things with impunity. I'm going to fix this. Then there was a pause where everyone was waiting. Now, let's see what the president is going to do. Then what does he do? Total opposite of what everybody else expected. And even more. So, because we've gone to a point where it's almost like a point of no return. On the flip side, you're dealing with a generation that is relentless. You will kill every day. And when you go on the socials, you listen to the last protest where some were actually saying, I'm going to speak to my mortician. If I die, this is how I want you to preserve my body. These are not jokes. So we're dealing with a generation that is so relentless, that is unbowed, that is unshaken, unmoved, is not scared, does not walk in fear. And they're saying, however many you will kill, we will still demand accountability.
Yeah.
We'll still demand justice. We'll still demand that we don't want impunity in this country anymore. We want good governance. Those demands will not be silenced by bullets. They will not be silenced by how many boots you put to the ground, because what you see is a parallel. The CBD was locked. All the key points getting into to the CBD were all closed.
Yeah.
But where was the action? It's very clear. When you have a deployed riot police, armored vehicles, manning roadblocks, but then you still have truckloads of officers in full riot gear paired with tear gas, live ammunition, mass arrests, and all this is happening in the estates. You're actually pushing people into those pressure points where we're going to squeeze you into your corners.
You're bringing it home.
Yeah.
You're not coming out. You're coming to your home.
Yeah.
And I think we're at a tipping point where we seriously need to have, this is beyond a conversation. We need to see immediate action.
True.
We can't wait for another protest, because where this thing now is going, the proportion of concerns, the reported deaths, this is beyond just having a dialogue and having a conversation. And I think the only person who can stop these things is the president. No one else. You can't send a CS to speak. You can't send Raila Odinga to speak. You can't send your spokespersons to speak. This has to come directly from the head of state. And it's not conversations.
Yeah.
It's now action. Because we need to see something happen. What we saw, the escalation cycles of what we keep seeing, this is going to morph into something else. That you remember how it started with the protest, where nobody expected to see what we saw.
Yeah.
We're at that tipping point where you don't want to test those waters.
Yeah.
You don't want to go.
You don't want to see how people.
Exactly. You don't want to push someone to a place where they have no escape. They have nothing else to lose. They're just going to fight back.
Yeah.
Those pushbacks will not be good.
You see, Dennis, if you look at the president and the leadership that there is, they're communicating, and all they're saying is, you know what, you might do as you want, we just don't care. We don't give a damn, All we'll do is we will deploy the powers that we have. We are the people who deploy, we are the people who deploy violence. We are the custodians of violence, and we'll use it to ensure that you don't come to this town. But what is happening is the people are telling them it's our. Naivasha Road yesterday, were police officers there? Yes, they were. At some point, they were overpowered by the people. They were sent away, they were chased away by the people. And that went on until 9:30 in the p.m. What are people telling you? You will come with your guns, with your bullets, with everything you have, but we'll still fight back.
I want to maybe, as we come to the end of this session, because we'll look at more stories. Get yourself a copy of the Standard, the Kenya's Bold newspaper today. Look at some of those pictures that we're talking about. Look at the stories that have been written. Look at the words that have been said. But then I want to ask that: are people influenced to go into a protest? Do you think that people walk into a situation whereby they want a police gun to be, pointed at them, or tear gas canister to be lobbed in the direction? Or are we seeing a situation where the resolve of the people is so strong that they're willing to face that bullet, to say, I'll face it if you change, if you make it better? Which one do you think it is? That I can say, because I played sports in high school, so in the huddle in basketball, you're psyching people up.
Yeah.
You're psyching people up to go back onto the court and do the thing. Is it a place whereby people say, let's go out into the street and let's see how much more carnage can be caused today? Or are people going out because they're saying, you know what, things have got to change, the needle has got to move? Are people being gaslighted, or are people being encouraged to go out into the streets?
There's a lot of
lives?
gaslighting happening. If you go on the socials, you listen to the politicians who are in support of what is going on. There's a politician who was saying yesterday, Ninachinja mbuzi leta kachumbari. You listen to the undertones of the conversations. They're so emboldened that if you read some of the things, they cross the red line. But they're posting these things. They've got money. They're driving in big cars. They can fly out of the country anytime they want. But you're pushing a generation, and you're going to their residential compounds. You're shooting at close range. All these things that are happening, these people have nothing to lose, like I said. And somebody actually said, the youth are jobless.
Yeah,
And they can keep doing this every day.
that could be their job.
Yep.
Conversations continue. Good morning at 7 a.m.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.